Yeah, guys, man, it's Double H here, Double H, Double H, Double H, Double H. You know, I wanted to do more of this music thing, because I feel like Talkback has to diversify and just do a few things here and there, So I want to put out a lot more content here. So I want to be doing more of these classic albums, and for you guys to talk about and comment on if they think I'm right or if I think I'm wrong. So obviously for this one, it's Soundgarden, Superunknown. And yeah, man. Basically, it's the interesting thing about this is that how I found this album was pretty much I was doing rap, and then pretty much rap had pretty much come to a standstill where stuff that wasn't really very creative and all that kind of stuff, and then I stumbled upon via an associate, these tracks, and I was like, okay, yeah, this stuff sounds pretty interesting, and I heard the track Super Unknown, because obviously I searched sort of like Fell on Black Days, was okay, this is when I had Fell on Black Days, it's just sounded a bit weird, I was like, okay, what's this? But then I listened to Super Unknown, and I was like, wow, man, this is very, very, very crazy. Like, the thing that hit me was the guy who was singing. I was like, man, who on earth is this guy singing? And really, once you hear the once I heard the vocals on that, I was like, man, this is some pretty crazy vocals, and I then got like a lot more interested to say like, okay, like, what's, let me listen to this album. And I think I really, really recommend this album. I mean, if you are a fan of music, and if you're a fan of the creativity of, music, you really need to listen to this album, and it's really two things. It's the incredible vocal range and talent of Chris Cornell, and it is the amazing musical composition of the whole band. When you see stuff like My Wave, just how it just hits you hard, like it's fast paced, and just when you just listen to the levels that this guy goes vocally, it's incredible. Fell on Black Days again, Chris Cornell is showing you a different side of his vocal abilities, which is like a lot more of a lower tone, but then he amps it up. But just when you just listen to just how the track escalates, how it starts, and just how it then builds up, it's amazing, But obviously, I already talked about the Super Unknown track, but the thing about this album is that the music is very different, I mean, I think the key thing of why this album was such a success was Soundgarden, they were kept into that pigeonhole hole of being the grunge guys. Okay, these are just the grunge guys, and like I think it was Ultra Mega or okay or something like that. The albums that they were doing was like, okay, this is just very, very grunge. But the thing about this album was that it was grunge, but it was musical. Like, it wasn't tied down in shackles by its genre. It was pretty much like a genre busting kind of album. And I think Black Hole Sun, which is like, I think it's a track that pretty much everybody has heard, and it's just one of those songs that it's just an amazing song. It's a song that really it's not tied down by any genre. Like, literally anybody who, whether you're into country music, whether you're into rap, whether you're into pop, whether you're into folk music or anything like that, or even death metal, um, if you listen to something like Black Hole Sun, it's just a beautiful track. Just a beautiful track that is beautifully sung, and the way the music is organized and the way it takes you on that journey is it's just amazing. It's literally just an amazing track. Obviously Spoonman again is another fast-paced track, and then you have another good one like the Day I Tried to Live, and then obviously you have a few more other tracks that maybe they're not as strong as the other ones, but altogether they are within the same kind of tone and mood of the album, which is that it's dark, but dark in a musical sense, because obviously grunge has been linked to being very dark. It is very much about, the people who are basically been through drugs and doing all this stuff, pretty much, singing about their hearts. And so it's, grunge has always been linked to being dark. So the beauty about this is that these guys, they still know that, they are within the grunge genre. They're the Seattle guys where grunge was the most prominent. So you still have that grunge aura within the album, but it still can stand by itself alone, away from its genre. And I think for me personally, one of my favorite tracks on this album is Like Suicide. And it's a 7-minute track, and literally it's just amazing. Like, when it starts, it just starts very, very, slowly, and obviously, Chris Cornell, he's singing on like a very low note, and he just amps the stuff up, and just the way that the song just builds up over 7 minutes is amazing. You just, like, I've seen this track, like, man, that was a very, very well constructed piece of music, and I think really that's what I really recommend it, and I think that the thing that's obviously, again, it's a great band. The band really came in to do it, but I think the thing that really draws people who are not really into grunge into this album is really his singing. And I think the thing is that, with many guys who are like, grunge guys, or these guys are that, they're most of the grunge guys were very much like the same. They were very much the same. But the thing with Chris Cornell is that his singing is you can tell that it has borrowed a lot from your Aretha Franklin's, all of those people coming from the soul era, like, Billie Holiday. Like, it is pretty much taking that kind of vibe. So, and I think it is that singing style that he brings, combined with the kind of music that's that these guys are making, that just makes it a very uniquely sounding album. But it's an album that is very easily accessible. The earlier stuff was a bit, no, this is too much for me. But I think what makes it really easily accessible is that his singing is something that you can pretty much connect with. You can really understand them singing, because it's taken from the soul era. So much of it's taken from the soul era, and even when he was even being interviewed, so he said, like, one of his influences were guys from the soul era. It wasn't really rock guys that really influenced his singing. His singing was really influenced by soul people. So that just gives that very interesting twinge, But yeah, man, I really recommend that guys pick this up, because I think, musically it's just a really amazing album, with some, but just the key thing, just the song composition and his ridiculous amazing singing is just what really, for me, makes this album a big double-edged recommendation. Peace.